Okay. Let's hear it. So, from the rest of the tables, what do the events that you recorded earlier mean to you? How are these concepts relevant? Yes.
So
let's give our attention here.
So we had a lot of noise, and I wasn't able to focus on reading and understand the rules. But when you said take a couple of moments, read the rules quietly, focus, read the rules, and get a better understanding of the rules.
Okay.
So there was less sort of extraneous interference.
So at first, when I just said don't talk, just look at the materials, and you could read them silently, you were able to spend most of the total load up here. And then when other people started talking, the sensory stimulation started occupying this. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, but it was the other way around. So I started reading the rules, and there was a lot of noise, and then he said, "Pick up."
Oh, and then I said, "Be quiet." Got it. All right. Awesome. Cool. Order. Good. Order of events. What else? Yes.
Hold on.
Okay.
I think the help pretty much only had one task, so there wasn't this multiple work in progress distraction you often have. So the fact that we're all focused on what was there.
Okay. So, cool. Excellent. So, the difficulty of the task itself, in terms of doing development and building a hand, was relatively low because it was just, you were doing single piece flow as opposed to working on 9 projects. What do you think, everybody? How might that relate to the different types of cognitive load? Where might we, what do you think Doc was talking about?
Less task switching?
Yes, she's definitely talking about less task switching. Absolutely,
Processing interference.
Processing interference because we're not doing task switching. Yes. Any other kind? Yes.
The distraction of having to track of the status of the other things that you're doing.
Yes, task switching, processing interference, absolutely. I would also think that it's a little bit, depending upon how you scope it, if you say that the problem is doing software development, that we've simplified the problem slightly. We've actually reduced the intrinsic cognitive load of the problem by allowing you to focus on single piece flow. But it's both. That's how changing one thing, that's a really good insight, that's how changing one thing can actually get you a twofer.
So they're like dependent variables.
Yes. And magic numbers, I hate those. All right, cool. So I'm going to give you some specific what-ifs, moving into the third and almost final stage of this. So based upon the insights that you've all just shared with each other about cognitive load and how it related to your earlier examples that you just called out, what if, when I gave you the instruction sheets, there were no pictures whatsoever, it was all just text? By the way, that's what the first version of this looked like. What if, instead of giving you the drills and working through the, in fact, let's just do this as a group. What if, so the first one, what if I'd given you the instructions as text? Thoughts? Out. Chaos. Why?
Guessing.
A lot of guessing.
Well, it just takes longer. It takes longer to read a sentence than to look at a picture and go, oh, I didn't concept.
Takes more time.
We would have all just heads down, focused on our interpretation, and not really listening to each other because we were so focused on understanding what we're looking at, we just couldn't assimilate what other people were saying.
Are you coming to meet Hall tonight? I'm gonna buy you a beer, right? For free. So we would have been so heads down, focused on our own thing, that we would occupying a high amount of what kind of cognitive load? Do you think?
That would be
interference, processing, absolutely. That we wouldn't have been able to pick up on the useful information from our teammates. Bad team brain. Absolutely. So what if I'd, instead of I'd given you all the rules at once and said, let's play this game, as opposed to doing the drills and then exposing the instructions one bit at a time. Here's that, don't worry about the skills, here's the skills. So by exposing that a little bit at a time, what kind of cognitive load do you think I was trying to minimize, and what were the effects? Talk about that at your tables. Say again? You're gonna go for a second beer. Let's hear it.
Emotional. We've been so emotionally overwhelmed by what we have to do this, and the stress level has been so high, emotionally, we've been clouding our mental ability to
Okay, absolutely. So what you're talking about here is actually when not just what's used, but you're actually talking about our total mental capacity at any given moment is radically exceeded by the load of the task. When it is just about even, that's when we're in flow state. That's when we're in challenge mode. That's when we're like, ooh, I almost got this, I almost got this. When the load is so low that you kind of just get bored and pull out your BlackBerry, that's where we're in the comfort stage. If we hear the comfort, challenge, and panic levels of engagement, that would have been the panic level, when the cognitive workload is so high that we're freaking out. And we're dropping stuff left and right. And not realizing that we didn't have, that our radio wasn't working as we're flying in the wind. Okay. So at your tables, last little bit, very concrete, your table, come up with 3 specific, not all-encompassing, just 3 little tidbits of advice that you can give. How would you use these lessons that you've just uncovered to improve real life? How would you behave differently? What would you tell other people to do in the workplace? You can talk, but just come up with 3, and please get them posted. That's the goal. Let's see, at least 3 on the bottom of the sheet. Yes, you may talk amongst your team.
Could have also had
Your personal flow.
show up and learn, being in company. With one of these, like, this is how we're going to instead of like 7 people doing 7 sets of roles rather than self-aware.
But what if that one
It's not going to help us.
Another thing is we focus on the whole goal. Actually, it's interesting. Really totally depends on you, your observing that. Okay, when we were starting on the stage, development stage, right?
What I don't know.
Having to make sure it's visible.
Instructor on there, I thought was really useful. So you'd be like, okay, well, why is that one? Oh, okay, that's right.
He could hold it installed. And then once he said that, we're going to go there.
Take a look around the room. Everything's sort of flat. I can agree, it's a little hard for me to so I think you've already see that some of that space out there.
When you can also take time to read instructions, and I think that's probably
You've interpreted it in a particular way. There will be further opportunities to display. Okay, so we should have, I don't see, so as your compatriots are posting your outcomes, these are lessons that you come up with. This is the change of behavior, right? So another aviation story, I was being quizzed on what's the FAA's definition of learning, and I said it's a change of behavior. And my instructor said, no, it's a change of behavior that results in, it's an experience that results in a change of behavior. And I said, well, I disagree with that, because I think you can learn without having an experience that results in a change of behavior. And he said, that's what the book says, that's what you're going to get tested on. Okay. The thing is, he was right. If performance doesn't change, if behavior doesn't change, you've got some declarative knowledge maybe, but that's not what we're talking about in terms of high performance. So those bottom couple of stickies are your learning. They might only apply to playing this game, depending on how you answer them, They might apply to work in teams, depending upon how you answer them. Never fear, we will have other opportunities to apply this stuff directly to your teams. Okay, so in summary, and I think all of you said most of this, but out of this last module, what's effectiveness? You know what? I really hate it when people ask a question and the answer's up on the slide. So I will just say that the answer's up on the slide. Yeah. When it scales, when it's what? It's like it's it's technically interactive, but I just find it interactive and insulting. And when we're talking about effectiveness, it's when when your methods and processes scale the effort that you can apply directly toward the problem faster than they scale the effort that you have to spend in other ways. And here's specifically some things that you came up with. I heard in all your suggestions, I heard this. We can reduce the processing load. We can increase the relative load by chunking it. We can reduce the intrinsic load, the baked-in load of the problem, by chunking it up. Although in real life, sometimes that's hard to do because chunking it is its own problem. These will all be available. Feel free, but these will all be available. So moving on, process and backlogs are not enough. Bummer, dude. I thought that having a backlog on the wall was a mental model. Not so much. So I'll illustrate this very quickly, and then I'd like to get some examples. Consider these dimensions. Now we're actually getting into how can you evaluate a team mental model? How can you consider, is my team forming a good mental model or not? And the white part is what we all focus on. So our two dimensions here are task work, what a recent Brickell Key Award winner called managing the work, versus teamwork, the vertical column, I'll point this out. Task work versus teamwork, managing the workers. He said the whole thing about lean is that in Agile is that we're more about managing the work and not managing the workers. That's why he said a Brickell Key Award. So specifically, those bits of information that we manage that has to do with when we're talking external to the team, things like the project, backlogs, rules, architectural rules to follow. Internal to the teams, but still about the work. How do we do a build? What are our coding conventions? That would be task work. The part that's more often neglected in the workplace is the teamwork. And when it is handled, and I don't mean teamwork like we're working really well together, but the work that has to be managed that we all need to keep in our heads about our other teams. For example, who can do what? Oh, he's a really good Java coder, but not really good front end. She's really good front end, but not really good Java. Okay, good. We all know that. And Luke Coleman's game Nosy is to help us understand that stuff. And then the really kind of hard stuff to be aware of that we're often, this is the water that we're swimming in that we're not even aware of, is the implicit unwritten rules. I heard one team over here say, it was hard because I don't even know half of you, and so I wasn't really sure and we weren't giving each other attention. So how do we know about this particular team, whether that's an honest or a sarcastic response? One of the best teams I ever worked with said, you have to be fluent in sarcasm to work with us. And that was their team rule. You bring in a new member, and we disrupt, go to the whole Tuckman model, go from performing back down to storming, because we've just broken the team mental model. So, I would like to here just kind of shout out as I go through each of these 4 quadrants some other examples of task work that is external task work. Ways that things that we manage, things that we have to know in our heads one way or another about the work that we do. Release dates, what else?
Sources of new pop-up.
Sources of, okay, got it. Bug trackers and team requests and things like that. Got it. how about sources of task work or project work? Examples of source work of, I can talk. Examples of task work or project work that are not external to the team, but that are internal and about the team that we need to keep in our heads.
I think like code review fit in there.
How to do a code review?
Yeah, like how do we do a code review?
How do we do a code review? Yeah, absolutely. That would be a team skill, a team practice that's internal to our team. Awesome. What time is our stand-up? Yeah, all right.
Our branching and merging strategy.
Oh. Awesome. Cool. These are all good examples. Moving over, upper right-hand corner, teamwork that is, actually the code review, I think, is that what you were talking about? Teamwork internal?
What's that?
Or were you saying code review was task external?
No, I thought it was internal.
Yeah, okay, great. Awesome. Team skills. My examples, who can do what? Things that we all kind of manage in our head when we're on teams about the team, not about the project or about the work, that we all kind of know or should know. One example in your sim was the skills card. Yes. Knowing the personas of each person. Oh, the personality. Got it. As a frustrated developer, knowing the personalities of each person. Maybe.
Well, just so you know how to deal with each person.
Okay, what do you all think? So, as we've done the first two quadrants. Thoughts? Is that going to be team external things that we know in terms of skills about our other team members and what they're capable of doing, how they respond, and what their personalities are like? Sound good? Any dissenting opinions?
Your personality could be different based on the people that are
Team internal, because your personality could be different based on who's in your team. Yes.
And there could be judgments on that.
There could be judgments on it. It's very hard to get to. It's the technical language is intrinsic. It's hard to see. It's hard to see. But I can walk up and I can see you're clearly architecting. You're clearly managing a project plan. So a couple other thoughts on team external. Things that we know about our team in terms of their capabilities, what they can do, their skills that are observable.
Perhaps if they're not fully devoted, perhaps other outside commitments, like if they know they have some production support.
How many different projects are you fully committed on?
Right.
Right, yes. I'm 100% committed to 6 projects. Great, that's a good one. How busy are you? What skills card did that match?
Head down.
Yes. All right. Okay. And we heard a couple examples already about the team internal things like personality, things like how someone's going to react, things like do we speak loose or doesn't you're good. Okay, good. You all have this. This is awesome. So these are ways to evaluate your team's mental model. And where folks fall down when they're looking for tools and tips and techniques to help is they focus only on the upper left-hand quadrant. Let's manage the work about the project. Great, you've got a mental model. BS, you've got 1/4, maybe less. When all the team all knows all 4 of these things, that is the team brain. So, let's see if we can help y'all spin up your team brain a little more. At this point, are there any non-player, strictly observers in the room? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, awesome. Players, pay no attention to the observers. They'll just be helping out. Observers, come grab an observer record sheet. This is no. What happens in Sim stays in Sim, and what happens to Sim stays with Sim. This is. I'll let you hand these out. Basically, anytime you see something of interest happen, observers, that pertains to this, note it down. So for example, when you see 2 team members disagreed on which hand they were trying to play, even though they had all decided in advance, kind of think about that. Is that more about the tasks, or is it more about the team? And just check the appropriate box. Players, you don't really need to care about this. The good news, players, is that when it comes time to the debrief, you'll have some objective viewpoints to be able to kind of help you out in terms of what happened. This is also very, very meta point here. If you want to use this technique and you're trying to scale a game and you can't have that many players, this is a way to get other people involved and active and learning and paying attention that scales incredibly well. You can still keep a small number of players.
Derek, do you want each table to have an observer?
That might be nice. Yeah.
Does any table not have an observer? I'll observe this. Are you guys have an observer?
You are.
I need a call.
Observers, if you have questions, I'll help you while the teams are running. Okay. So, we're getting ready to play Sim 2. So, please, yes?
Are we going to shuffle?
We're getting ready to play Sim 2. I appreciate your initiative. So, hang on, folks. Let's all do this. So, what did we learn about cognitive load? Right, so I'm trying to do that right now. So, let's have a look at the screen.
None of my cards are. You want my school cards back to the
Can I have everyone's attention, please? I'm not just going to wait for the hands to wrap. So, this is going to be normal play, timed. Your goal is just as it was before, to make the appropriate hands in product staging. Same rules, no tricks. Your workspaces should all be private except for the one face up. Your skills card should be down. You will need to, not now, but you will need to reset everything. So reshuffle your playing cards, reshuffle your skills cards, get everything reset to normal, clear your int if you need it. You can talk to each other about what cards you have, but you can't show them. That's, same as before. Hey, do you have an ace of spades? Yeah, I have an ace of spades. Okay, fine. You can do that. You're using high bandwidth communication.
We can tell them people
You can talk about that stuff as much as you want. You've got full-time, real-time, high bandwidth, holographic video chat. Because you're a distributed team and you deserve the best we can buy.
Thanks, Dad.
Okay. When your table and your players are reset and you're ready to play, please hold up your hand. Great, I've got you. Got you, you're ready? You're ready. Thank you, I've got you. I'll see you. You two are ready? When your tables are reset and you're ready to play, please hold up your hands. I got you. Just wait for everybody else. Let me run dry.
No, what do you got? Let's figure out what you can't show you. Remember, that's the rule. You can't show you. You go first. Yeah.
Is any table not ready? This table is not ready. What do you need? You're doing simulation 2, which is scenario 1. You have not turned your pages over.
That's for the discard. So, when you draw, you can draw based on your skill.
I know where they're going.
This is the same play as last time, except this time it's for real. All right. So, there's real some gifts. All right. One last little thing to charge for you all. Can I have your attention, please? All right. We're going to start in under 30 seconds. You are all individual teams working for the same company. You are all development teams. The company needs a number of features in production, which you already know what they're represented by. There is a tight 5-month, 1 month equals 1 minute deadline on this project. So 5-minute deadline. And we're trying to see how many features we can deliver. Ready, set, go!
Where's the other teams?
Do you have any other questions?
All right, I don't say things.
Yeah.
But also,